Yeah, storytelling is equally like dark art and sort of science at the same time. Like there are sort of methodologies, but a lot of it is this feel, right? Especially when you're talking about something that's so massive. A comparison I've been using as I start to really look at the game industry as a whole is that, our timeline is no different, I think, than the film industry's timeline. It's just that the film industry started back in the 20s, right? And in the 20s, they were fascinated with the ability to have things move, to trick the audience into believing that somebody wearing a little mask is actually the moon, right? The little thing is like a spaceship, right? And it was very plot driven, and it was not self-aggrandizing, but it was just so into the idea that they could make things move, that they could put things in color, that they could put sound. It wasn't just music and text anymore. They could put sound. They went through decades of just figuring out the technical aspects of the art form. And I think we're still breaking out between this like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s kind of game development that, in the 90s and the 80s, we were fascinated with what we were able to do. A few games tackled bigger subjects, but in general, we were like, check it out, the build engine. It's in 3D now, right? It's 2.5D. And each time, the consumer and even the press was doing the same thing. It was a list of features, right? What is your game going to support? Networking. You're going to support the 3D effects chip. Like it was always this kind of arms race of what we were able to do that did focus a lot on back-of-the-box features, that did focus on, what is the total gameplay time, which we're still pretty obsessed with now. There are a lot of independent, smaller games that began this movement, but, the one that I remember the most, Last of Us, is probably the one that I remember the most that spoke to the largest group of people. It isn't to say that games prior didn't do this, so I know the internet will probably get very upset if I say that they were the ones, but they were the ones that I think made the largest splash, that suddenly made it okay to tackle, subjects that made you care and empathize with other characters, that made you feel something other than fear, tension, or anger. Right? And those things were present, absolutely. But you walk away from that with such an incredible feeling, such a feeling that you've participated in something, you've gotten to know two characters through a very arduous journey. That to me, that was that point, and I went, okay, audiences want this, right? They are clamoring for something more. They want to spend time playing something. They want to spend 30 hours, 20 hours playing something. Then they want to feel something. They want to connect with these characters and feel like joy as much as sadness.
You do not know everything, boy.
Nah. But at least I know the truth now.
The truth.
I'm a huge Stargate SG-1 fan.
Oh, good, me too.
You are. You got the indeed in there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. 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 Indeed.
Whoa. I can see why Mom wanted us to bring her here.
Indeed.
I'm not sure how many people picked up on it. It's a good bit. It's like 4 or 5 hours in as well, isn't it? It's like a little while.
Yeah.
What was it like working with him? And like, where did you want him in because you're a fan of the show?
Ooh, there are so many aspects to that. I wanted him in earlier, but thought he would never. I went through a lot of like sort of doubting early on, so I didn't approach a lot of people simply because like, oh, it wasn't so good, because I had bad experiences on God of War 2, right, where we were turned down, not just turned down, but like really, really turned down by some of these actors who were like, I will never work on the game, or give me $10 million, or, just terrible experiences. So I thought, oh, it'd be great is to have Chris Judge, but, we're never going to get him. He'd never be interested. And then we sort of forgot about it. And we struggled to cast Kratos for a long time, tried to find somebody that physically was in the same stature but also could act, right? And that was not an easy thing to find. And we ended up getting an external casting director, and then she said, you know what? I get what you want, because we were on the phone for like an hour. She's like, okay, I kind of get it. I get what you want. How about I'll do this? I'll do my thing. I'll bring you a couple of curated tapes, and then we can talk about those and see if I've hit the mark. He was in the first group, right? And I was like, he'll do this? Really? She's like, yeah, let's bring him in. And come to find out, he had the same experience of like, he didn't know it was a game. So, and he thought to himself, I probably would not have done it. Because he didn't want to audition to begin with, and then he thought, well, this, saw the script and thought, oh, this is a movie, right? And then when he found out it was a game, he was like, all right, well, maybe this is good. It was very important to curate sort of a group of actors that would work well together, because I was asking them to perform for 7 straight minutes with no mistakes, right? And to do that, especially when you got like a 9 or 10-year-old kid in the mix, everybody's got to get along, right? And everybody's got to have sort of fun on the set. And literally just that first time with the chemistry read was the first time I met him, because he read with the casting director beforehand. And I was super nervous, right? And I mean, he shows up, I think, in like a Superman tank top, and he had to cut his beard with the goatee style of it, because he had no idea about what new Kratos looked like. And I was just like, oh really? My God. Yeah, and I'm just like, trying to be super cool about it, talking to him about the character, right? Just, playing it cool. But he was really relaxed, really just joking around right away. Him and Sonny bonded almost immediately. We were able to kind of go back and forth, and then after the first take, I gave a few notes on it, and he's already joking around. So I'm already joking around with him, and it just felt like literally one of the most natural things ever. So I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't turn us down. That show got me through God of War 1, really? Right? And that it was God of War 1 that I discovered DVD TV series. Oh, right? Yeah. And I was working so much, and I would literally be the only person in the office, just because I was so obsessed with being, the best animator ever, right? Because I came to this job not wanting to take the job, right? I took it like I was going to go make films, and then I realized like, this is literally the first game I'll work on that actually might be good. So I was like, it's going to be the best thing that I could ever be, right? And then when I go home, I just go to sleep. So I was like, I needed something to kind of unwind. So someone at the work had said, you should watch Firefly. And Firefly then was the gateway to Stargate. And then I watched all of Stargate. Then I watched like Next Generation on DVD. And I just became obsessed with watching these shows where I get to watch 1 or 2 episodes a night. But then I go back and rewatch Stargate. Because Stargate, to me, had just this perfect mix of humor, science fiction, right? A little bit of mythology, and just an excellent sort of arc for all of their characters, And I mean, even to this day, I still go back and reference a lot of that stuff.
Elbow up, steady hand, relax. Accuracy over speed. Yes!
Do not lose it.
I mean, the original design of Atreus was he would only be in danger when you press the button. So he'd follow you around and he'd stay there. And then when I pressed the button, it was like, the example I used was like the dog in Dead to Rights. Is that if I press that button, he would go towards the target and try to disarm it, right? But the trick would be, that's when he's in danger. So now you have the risk reward, which designers, we love this, is what am I risking? What am I getting? When is it worth it? But it became too much of the risk reward and not enough of what the onus of what this was, which was raising a child, right? Which was try to, in this mechanic, in this experience with Atreus, be like a parent. And that is, I can never take over as my kid. I can't suddenly go like, I'm gonna hit a button and then I'm gonna be my kid so I can go to school for him so he can have a good day at school, right? No, I can arm him the best I can when he's not in school, with the best tools and the best knowledge so that he can survive at school by himself. And that was the driver, I think, with Atreus, is that he's autonomous. He's gonna run around and he's gonna do things. And the more I do to prepare him, and that partially is the ability of upgrading certain things, but it's also interacting and talking and sort of participating in the story, the more I teach him and the better he becomes. I think the closest game that we used as an example was Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And that was your assist character. When you think about calling in Doom Rocks on the right of your screen to trap somebody down with Doom Rocks, and you're like, oh, I feel really good. And Doom got you into trouble, or any assist character got you in trouble if you called the assist in the wrong time and they got rocked, right? So it was your fault. And I thought, okay, that is the driver behind this is that he's never going to run out ahead, get killed, and then you die. He's never going to break stealth or anything like that, and you die, because that would make you feel like the designer or the game cheated me. It's weird because if you ask about any of my previous games, I have a huge list of things that I messed up. But those things also became the things I focused on in this game to ensure that I wouldn't mess that up. I would love, this is the big thing that changed. We cut a lot of bosses, a lot. We had so many more. It was a much more ambitious, crazier game. And then as you go through development and you start realizing, no, this is too big. We can't do this, right? One boss takes like 30 developers a year and a half, right? It's a absolutely massive scale when you really consider it, and you measure it against other games in which we finished the game in a year and a half. And this one is more like we have a group of developers dedicated as a boss team, and that's not the only thing they're working on. So they're working on the boss team, but then they also have a few other tasks that they're managing throughout. So it became a reality that, okay, some of these things have to be cut. We'll have to just, maybe at a later date, this one's not going to work. The trolls were never actually meant to be bosses. We made the call, and this one was another thing that I would have changed. We put the boss bar on screen because the troll was so big, the health bar above his head meant you had to keep looking up. And the health bar around his feet just looks stupid. And we were all like, it just looks dumb, the health bar on his feet. And it just says, aim at my ankles. Even though you kind of had to do that, we didn't want to put a target on that because you could stand back, you could throw at it. And we tried an experiment where we put the health bar above and then it would move down. So it would stay at the sort of edge of the screen. And it just became distracting. So someone had said, hey, just put the boss bar on it, right? And then we can give them names. And I had a whole lore behind the trolls, which I thought was such a great story that kind of filled in the mythology, but it never really got a chance, I think, to breathe because we also had to scope that down. That became, you'll get it in the journal, and then you might hear a little bit about it from Mimir, but it wasn't going to be the big story of there was 3 tribes of these trolls, and then through Tyr's sort of messing about and the deals between him and Odin, they kind of eliminated all the trolls. They kind of performed kind of a genocide on these people. So the last trolls that remain are these bitter, angry trolls that are wandering around the world and are just like, I will fight anybody who comes at me because all of you are responsible for destroying what was a very thriving culture of trolls, right? That they lived in villages, they had languages, and it was 3 different sort of groups of trolls that didn't communicate heavily, and then they started fighting each other when Tyr was manipulating them. So either way, that never really got in the way I wanted, and then the boss bar made people feel like they were bosses. Even though at the E3 I was like, and this is not even a boss, this is just a regular character, the boss bar didn't help our case on that one, so I would have fixed that. There's an answer of saying the thing that I'm most proud of that I did in the game, but there's also, to me, I think the thing that is above that, it is the reaction caused by the game itself, right? I've been making games for 97, so 21 years. That's a long time. And I've never had the kinds of stories, the reactions that I've had on this game, right? People have said, that was really cool, I love this part where you could chop the head off, or I never felt so powerful, or these great stories that are still great stories that people have, I had a bad day, right? I got a ticket, I got yelled at by my teacher, I got disrespected by my boss, and I went home and I played the game and I just felt powerful and good. That's great, and we did that multiple times. But, most recently, and this has happened on multiple occasions, but the most recent one was at PAX. We were at the What's Good Games party, and some guy at the bar just came up to me and was emotional almost from the beginning, right? He's like, look, I just want to say, really good game, but I want to tell you something, right? And he's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to weird you out, right? And I was like, no, that's cool. And then he proceeds to tell me that he played the game, and the game affected him so much that he understood his father more, right? To the point that he's been estranged from his father for a long time. And he said, I called him that day, right? And I was like, oh my God. And he's like, and we had a really good conversation. And I was like, are you still talking to him? He's like, we're rebuilding. He's like, I still talk to him, and it feels like we're set on a path. And to think that you make something that could bring 2 people back together who had like ships passing in the night just sort of missed the understanding of each other, and this game helped him see his father's side, right? To at least understand that maybe there was something there that he just couldn't say, that he struggled, right? Instead of just blaming his dad for everything, he was like, I feel like I need to reconnect with him, and that blew my mind.